Now, the young Marx began his work with a criticism of Hegel. For him, most important elements in Hegel's system were civil society and the capitalist economy. According to Marx, the capitalist economy is the base, while the state and the nation are political and ideological superstructures. If capitalist economy was superseded, the state and nation would automatically disappear. This idea of Marx has basically stayed unchanged. Marxists since Engels have followed this schema called historical materialism. However, as I said before, the Marxist dogma with regards to the state and the nation as mere superstructure caused the movement to stumble repeatedly. In particular, the experience of Stalinism and fascism served as a lesson to Marxists. Thereby, Marxists began to pay more attention to the question of state and nation. But since they preserved the framework of historical materialism, they could only stress the relative autonomy of the superstructure. Sociology and psychoanalysis were mobilized to reinforce their argument. Despite their greater sophistication, such arguments have done nothing but dismiss the state or the nation as communal fantasy or ideological representations. What I'm proposing is to consider the state and the nation as derived from modes of exchange that are entirely different from commodity exchange. In Capital, Marx tried to explain the grandiose, elusive system of capitalist economy through the basic mode of commodity exchange. By the same token, we can see the state and the nation as historical derivatives of different basic modes of exchange. The state and the nation are not mere communal fantasies or ideological images. They have a firm and necessary ground. For that reason, they cannot be easily dissolved. The basic mode of exchange boils down to the four types in the matrix, figure 3. Okay. Also, figure 4 and 5 show the historical derivatives arising from the different modes of exchange. Okay, I start with figure 3. Okay, the first is mode of exchange A, reciprocity. In Capital, Marx emphasized that commodity exchange begins only between distinct communities. But this is not to say that there is no exchange within a single community. The exchange we see there is of a different kind, namely the reciprocation of gift and return. The anthropologist Marcel Mauss found that a certain principle in the primitive society and tends to support the formation of the social structure. It was a principle of reciprocity, such as gifting and returning of food, wealth, women, labor, etc. This type of exchange, reciprocity, is not confined to primitive societies, but exists in various types of communities. Although reciprocity is vanishing as the capitalist economy permeates ever more widely, it remains functional, at least within the family. For example, when parents take care of a child, this is essentially equivalent to gifting. It's not certain if the child will later return this gift, but if he or she feels obliged or indebted to the parents, it means there's a kind of exchange between parents and child. So it is frequently the case that such an exchange takes a emotional form. For example, a nation is an imaginary recovery of the agrarian community that was dissolved by the market economy. This is why the nation first and foremost appears as a matter of emotions rather than of political or economic interest. The second type of exchange takes place between communities. Marx repeatedly emphasized that commodity exchange began between communities, but what happens there first is plunder.